I made the mistake of trying to trademark cook cards, and it's too descriptive. So, it took 6 months or whatever, and then they rejected it. But it was still okay for me to start the business. I didn't have the time, and I did not want to be a social media person. It was a conscious choice that I knew I would have to pay a little bit for the marketing. Taking my time to do things slowly, don't put too much risk into what I was doing.
Tell me about like your life and how did you start? Give me a little bit of background about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from Spain. I moved to the US in 2009. I worked for a large corporation for most of my life, and I wanted to do something different, something that was more entrepreneurial. And I was looking at different things. I had a little bit of money to invest, and I looked at franchises and other things. And I thought, okay, well, as a separate to kind of get a separate business stream or kind of revenue stream.
Mm.
And this caught my attention because it's something I could do. I can have it running without too much, in a way. You don't have to be there day to day, and you can kind of do it in your own time, as opposed to having to go to an office. And the risk is not huge. You can spend, basically as much money as you want on launching your product. I did I think a fairly inexpensive, cheap product initially, but I have 5 more products that I'm working on. So 2 of them are ready, that haven't been launched, another one that is just being launched, and another one that is being developed right now. So I have other ideas. So this one, the first one, to me is more like a test. I'm testing it, I'm learning and figuring out what went well, what didn't go well. I made some mistakes along the way for sure. But I did manage to launch it, right? It took me a little longer than I wanted to, but that was I would say my fault. I didn't go at the speed I wanted. That's the background. And so I got into it. I said, okay, well, I have a little bit of money to spend. I want to learn this. I want to be a little bit entrepreneurial, and I want to understand how this business works. If people are talking about it, does it make sense?
What made you like choose e-commerce or Amazon? Is that something that you were interested in, or do you have a passion about like creating products?
Yeah, I do have a passion about creating products. It's something I'm an engineer by trade, and so I've always thought about, okay, how can I create something and develop something new? And some of my ideas are a little bit difficult to implement, and then I never knew how to sell them. And so once you have like the platform to sell, and you have the idea and you know how to do it, then you're like, okay, well, now kind of I can connect the dots. I have the idea, and I have now the tools to develop it, and now to so I'm kind of a problem solver in my mind. That's kind of how I think, and yeah, that was my passion. It doesn't mean that I know that the Travis theory is that you have to be passionate about your products. I'm not necessarily passionate about all the products I'm developing, but you do have to, I think, look at where the market is or where the niche is, and so I've chosen some which I think are good niches, but because of trends. But
and that's why you're passionate about the mission.
Yeah, I'm passionate about the mission. But there's the next products that I'm developing I'm going to be more passionate about.
Okay, and why did you create your first product? I do love your first product, the keto cards. I think it's such a cool idea. It makes it so much easier to have, like, especially like for busy lifestyle, like to have something that's like ready, like to plan. So tell me a little bit about your product. Why did you create it? Where did the idea come from?
So the idea was, to make something that helps someone's life, to simplify their life, right? And I had initially the idea of developing a kind of meal system, but actually for kids meals. Okay. And so I started working on developing that. So it was the kids meals, because I have 5 kids, and it's always hard to plan for meals. So that was kind of like where the passion side came. When I started to develop it, I actually launched the development of 3 products in parallel. It was probably a mistake. It was a little bit too much. And I used 3 different designers, So I probably should have used one designer to develop all of them, one after the other. But actually, because I wanted to go fast, I did 3 in parallel.
Mm.
And it just so happened that the one that was ready first was the guy doing the keto cars. And I felt it was the nicer looking, the better design layout. And I said, okay, well, this one is ready. Let's launch it with this one. Right. I have the other two. They're ready. There's one that's for healthy meals for kids, another one for vegan. So it's the same brand of cook cards, but it's just a different line, right? There's one for keto diet, there's going to be one for health, and there's going to be one for. Right now, I just launched the first one, right? I figured out, okay, let's make the mistakes on one as opposed to launching them all at the same time. So the other ones, I haven't even produced them. I have them ready digitally, but not. So it's a little bit I would say by chance that the keto was the first one that kind of I launched. And it still seemed like a good idea.
Is there anything similar out there that, like, where'd you get the idea from? Is that something that you
No, I
uh
mean, this what you could say that what is similar is maybe AJ's cocktail cards. You could think
mm,
about, okay, well, that's something similar because it is, you have a box with some cards. But the idea was, okay, what can I make that is simple, fairly inexpensive to make, that is better than a book, and that helps you in a way that is different, right? So, because there's 1,000 books on keto, I'm not going to compete on that, but there's nobody making you a kind of a pre-planned diet plan for you. So the idea is, well, that is the solution. And if you actually go on Amazon, there is nothing like it. It is fairly unique. There's
yeah,
some guys that do something called cheat sheets. It's like a thing that you put on your fridge, but there is no 3-month meal plan. And so
yeah,
it's like a plan for the whole 3 months, and then basically you can repeat it again, or you could choose, make a selection of the best. So that is, that's where the idea came from, and how to simplify somebody's life and sell it in a package that is a little bit premium versus a book.
mm,
They also can be gifted, that can be, and it's kind of a bit of a novelty item that doesn't exist.
yeah. And did you use like helium-10 to do some research on?
A little bit, but there wasn't very much. I mean, no, no, and in hindsight, I think I could have done a little bit more. Keto and kind of that kind of search now is kind of a limited search,
Mm,
so there's not a lot of like search volume. So the demand is not there. You actually have to kind of generate it, and you have to from adjacent things, right? There's
yeah.
people looking for keto books, but nobody knows that this exists. So you have to advertise a lot for people to. So yeah, I did use a little bit of helium-10, but also Amazon has their own. I don't know if you're familiar. They have their own discovery,
Yeah.
so which does the same as helium-10. So I don't know why we should be paying for helium-10. I mean, helium-10 is a bit more powerful and whatever, but Amazon also has like a search discovery feature.
Mm, okay. So what about manufacturing? Was it easy to find a manufacturer
Yeah,
to?
I felt that was fairly easy. I mean, went on Alibaba and I found, I just messaged a number of companies that do like playing cards, play cards, and it was pretty easy to find.
How
So
many how many manufacturers did you talk to?
I forget, maybe like 4 or 5, but it was more like just messages on Alibaba. Hey, can you do it? And then basically it was whoever was most eager and easier to talk to, because some
Mm,
people don't respond. But the guy who really wanted it, I said, okay, well, you want
yeah.
it, this is what I want. And the prices are, I think, fairly similar. So
Did you have to like create prototypes and order some samples?
Um, I didn't have to create a prototype. I asked for a prototype. They call it like I think it's called a digital mockup, which is basically a one that they print. They don't print it on like the big machine. They print it like a small machine. It's like $100 something, and they make it. That's just to check, whether it's going to print in the right way, whether the cards are going to be fit correctly, whether both sides look good, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I did one sample, and in a way it's a simple product. So you check it, and then I added the barcode, the QR code, and then I basically ordered the run, right?
And how much did it cost you, like between the designers and the manufacturing and the samples?
Do you see my startup cost there?
Yeah, so I see design
The
cost you
design
about,
was about $500 for the
okay.
design. One thing I is missing here is yeah, I need to like the guy who did the recipes, because there's another part which is the recipes. You know,
I
it's not
see.
only the design but the recipe. That was about 200, maybe like $800 in total. So the guy did the recipes and the design, about 800.
I see. Okay. And the samples cost you about $100, 120. I can see
Yeah,
that. And then you decided to order your first inventory, or
yeah,
how many units did you order? And
500,
500 was your first order? 500 packages, right?
500 boxes.
500 boxes.
Yeah,
And how much did that cost you?
about $3,000. That's the inventory first production run there.
And did you have any issues with your first production?
Nope, they made them, they put the label the right way, the
Nice.
code, they shipped it, and it appeared in my house one day, a big pallet of boxes.
They shipped it too. You didn't have to like get
They
a.
shipped it. Yeah, they had their own, they actually connected me to the forwarder, to the shipper, and they did it, and it was pretty easy. And everybody just wrote to me on WhatsApp, and I would just write to them. And
Okay.
that was that part was actually pretty simple.
Okay. Let's go on to Amazon now. Where did you get your UPC codes from? Did you
Yeah,
purchase those from
GS1 or whatever. Yeah.
GS1?
Which is a little bit extortionate. I mean, I bought for this one, there's only one UPC code, so I think it's like $30. But for some of my other products where I need like different sizes, it's like 250. It's expensive.
And
So
did you start an LLC
yeah,
for this product? You did?
yeah,
How much did it cost you to start an LLC?
around 250 more or less. I did it with LegalZoom, which was a bit expensive, I think, but yeah,
Okay. Did you also get a trademark?
yeah. So I did it. Yeah, you get a trademark, otherwise you can't do the brand registry. So I did a trademark. I did it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I made the mistake of trying to trademark cook cards, and it's too descriptive. So, it took 6 months or whatever, and then they rejected it. But it was still okay for me to start the business, and Amazon hasn't really removed the brand registry yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
I heard
I have to do another registry at some point.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that happens before with some people. So let's talk about, when did you ship your first products to Amazon? Your first ship
In December.
in December.
Mhm.
And did you ship the whole thing? You shipped all your.
No, I shipped. I mean, first I shipped like 5 to make sure that they accepted them, and then I shipped maybe 50 or.
Okay. And at that point, you haven't launched yet. You just
No,
shipped products.
just
Okay.
shipped. I mean, no, I didn't. I didn't launch. I didn't launch until I had like 51 in stock.
And what shipping method did you use? UPS or?
Choose a UPS from Amazon.
Okay,
And
the
like,
recommended shipping method from Amazon. How much did that cost you? Do you know?
it's about. It comes to about $1 a box. So it's when I shipped 50 boxes, it was like $50, something like that.
Okay. And when was that exactly when you shipped it? Was that in November? You had your
December, beginning of December.
beginning of December. And your launch was towards the end of
So
December.
that was the end of December. Yeah, that's when it appeared, kind of.
Okay. So let's get into that. Let's talk about launching the product. Did you use any social media? Did you use any marketing?
No, I did not. I think I probably should have, but I did not. No, I just started with PPC.
You just started with PPC. You launched it in the end of December. Turned that your
Actually, you know
listing
what?
on.
So you know what? No, I'm lying. I started some TikTok. I did start with.
Okay.
I did some social media on TikTok, and I just did a video, and I can send you the link. And yeah,
You did it yourself.
Hmm?
You did it yourself. You did
Yeah,
videos.
I did it myself. Yeah, I just recorded it, and then also in the Christmas, I did like a couple of videos about like with some Christmas music about best good Christmas gift and that kind of stuff.
Okay. So let's talk about the first launch, first month, first launch. How did that go?
Well, I was learning. I did the PPC campaigns myself without really knowing very much. It went okay, meaning that because the search volume actually for diets in December and January are actually quite higher than later, I started to get some sales. So I did some PPC, and and people were actually interested in buying it. I never changed really the price. I did like a very small, let's say, discount or kind of like promotion at the beginning for some units, but I always kept it at $39. So
What was the initial cost when you first launched it?
the price,
Yeah.
$39.
Oh, so you started it at 39.
I started 39, and then I just applied. I did like a $10 off for for a couple of weeks at the beginning as a launch. And the first month, which was, yeah, I mean, December was basically, it was the end of December, so I sold 2 units. I think I was like some friends and family ordering stuff. And then in January is when I kind of started to sell a bit more, and I sold 58, which is what you see there on the sales numbers.
So I see 78 in your first month.
That's dollars.
Oh, that's the revenue, not the number of units.
The
Got
units
it.
is number 3, line
It's
3.
number 2. Okay. So, because you launched towards the end of the month, right? So only 2
Yeah,
units.
month 1 is December. Yeah.
Yeah. And then January, I see that it went up to 58 units. And that's when you turned on PPC.
Yeah.
And you didn't do any social media or any.
Just a little bit. That I said this TikTok, I would just run that same TikTok video.
Okay.
Recurring basis, but not really, no.
So in terms of revenue, that was about $2,200 in revenue for the second month.
Yeah.
And what were the Amazon fees and all of that? It was about.
When you see it there, there's like Amazon fees is like 600, PPC over 1,000. So you're not really making any money.
Okay, so you're not making any net profit, but you're making some gross profit. You are making back your production cost at least, right?
Yeah, somehow. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, so that's month 2. So talk to me about month 3.
So month 3, I adjusted a little bit the PPC strategy, and I think I improved a little bit also the writing and the text. I got like somebody on Fiverr to like improve my language and also the images. I did some improved infographics, and I kept running PPC, more or less the same. And I got a little bit in some more sales, 74.
Yeah.
But then I think after January, February, the search volumes actually drop a little bit for keto diets, and people are not so motivated. It's usually like January when they do that, right?
So so for February you made 2,800 in revenue, and you had about over $800 in gross profits and 300 in net profits.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Come March, you're saying you sold a little bit less. The search volume went down a little bit.
Yeah, and I spent more on PPC. I was also trying some new strategies. I tried to do more kind of remarketing, and I increased my bid price for the cost per click. I spent a bit more, but I didn't really sell more. It's a little bit inelastic, I feel. I mean, even if you spend more money, you don't really sell that much more. So I think you have to keep a PPC going, but it just feels like spending more money doesn't give you a lot more revenue. I don't know. What was your experience when your products?
I mean, yeah, PPC is a bit of a learning experience. There's a bit of a learning curve when it comes to that. Similar in the beginning, it was costing me a bit with PPC. Then I lowered. So that one of the things like I learned about PPC is like you have to turn off the ones that are not working and only keep the ones that are really working. And that really requires a bit of research and understanding.
Right.
Of how much you're getting return on that, because you don't want to keep throwing money into PPC. It is a bit of a learning curve, but I see that you made $2,500 in revenue, but I see that PPC maybe ate a lot of those.
Yeah, 8-hour profit. Yeah,
a lot of that revenue. So that was March or April?
That's March.
That's in March. And come April, this is right now?
Yeah, month 5 is April, so it's still ongoing.
Okay. So in total revenue, you've made $9,000 in total. And
yeah, I mean, in theory, yeah, $9,000 in revenue, but no profit, no net profit, really.
Net profit is 100, I'm showing.
Yeah, that's nothing. and I'm still, the total investment is higher. The net profit might be 100, but I spent 5,000 to launch the product.
Yeah.
So
I see.
you're not recouping that. Well, yeah, I recouped 1,800 maybe out of it.
Yeah, and you have a business and you have a brand identity, and
Yeah, I mean, I
all
don't know
these.
what it's worth, because if I have to keep pumping money just to keep selling, then I'm actually just working for Amazon.
So what are some of the mistakes that you feel like you may have made along the way?
Probably, I haven't done enough social media advertising, or creating a following, or preparing like the marketing strategy in advance. I haven't like linked up to like keto groups, or social media people with the following, to be able to generate like kind of a buzz. So it's just a product that is there, and if I stop PPC, nobody will buy it. Nobody knows about it. So I think that's a mistake. I mean, but I didn't have the time, and I did not, as I said, I did not want to be a social media person. I did not want to do my own videos and appear in videos and stuff. So it was a conscious choice that I knew I would have to pay a little bit for the marketing. Some mistakes, I mean, I wrote it here. When I initially started, you can put, it's hard to know where to put, what category to put your product in, because it's not a book, and it's not a food, and it's not a diet, and it's not kitchenware. So like, and I know, like, for example, AJ is like cook card, they're like actually barware, right? Because it's not one or the other, right? And actually I put mine in books, and if you put it in books, actually you lose a lot of the benefits. You can't do PPC properly, you get relegated to really low level, and so then it was hard to kind of get back onto another category. So actually more, I think, in the planners and things like that, I'm in the planners category, and dealing with Amazon is a pain in the backside, because they're very inflexible. Every time you have a problem, you have to write to them, to the help thing, and then they don't answer correctly. You have to write them multiple messages for them to help you. I don't know if you experienced that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, learning how to navigate the Amazon platform is also a learning curve.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
And then you get an error, and then you try to save and it doesn't work, and you update something and it doesn't update. So I've had many problems, especially with my second product, which is more complex, and there's like variations and stuff. I had to do like, file upload, like batch upload, and it's a pain. So
yeah, so I can see how these can be challenges. You had some challenges with launching the product in the wrong category, a bit of a learning curve on PPC, not using the wrong campaigns or spending too much on PPC.
right.
Also possibly like a launching strategy, with social media. I think all these things are like learning curves when it comes to launching a product. I feel like these are lessons that you're learning. So you're in month 5 right now, and what is your projection towards like the next few months? And
I don't know. I mean, I feel that I need to maybe do some more social media to kind of make the product kind of sell itself without having to spend so much on PPC, because I think spending that kind of money on PPC is unsustainable. I mean, if to continue like this makes no sense, because I'm not making any money. I might as well just stop, or sell it, sell the product in a shop or something, because it just doesn't make sense. And so I think the next months, 3 to 6 months, I will try some other strategies, and if it doesn't work, maybe I just stop it. I mean, I'll go to the end of my inventory and then figure out whether it makes sense to order some more.
on the flip side, like what has been the most, like what have you learned through the process, and what are like some lessons that if you would go back that you feel like you did right, maybe things that you learned along the way?
I mean, I think I took the approach of, taking my time to do things slowly. Don't put too much risk into what I was doing. So I didn't like quit my job and commit all my life savings to this, because it is risky. I try to learn from the experience as much as possible. I did a lot of things myself, which I think is good because I've learned how to do a lot. So that helps me in the future. I mean, I was pretty cost effective, I think, in terms of the amount of money I spent developing the product. I use people in Pakistan and, people who are, much less expensive than people in the US or whatever, even though it comes with some difficulties. And that worked out. I think those are the main takeaways. I mean, and I think I learned a lot along the way. I mean, I think it's, even if the business fails, I feel now that I can tackle other projects even if they're a bit more complex. So it helps me for my next product or my next thing. Right? And I don't know how many products I'll end up launching, but I really want to figure out whether this product doesn't work because it's the wrong product, or it's because FBA is no longer the place to make much money because of all the competition there is.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you for sharing your story, and I think it's amazing what you've done, and I wish you all the best in the next projects and products that you launch, or maybe you can find a way to turn this product around. I do find it as a cool product, and I think like there is a market for it. And yeah, I'm excited to see like what's ahead of you, because I do see some potential, and it's exciting to see.